PK Kemsley and Dorit Kemsley's divorce battle has just taken another explosive turn, and this latest development could completely reshape the future of their ongoing legal war. New court filings reveal that PK is seeking control over the couple's multi-million-dollar Los Angeles mansion while accusing Dorit of failing to protect one of their biggest assets. At the center of the controversy is an $8 million property, reported $300,000 payment that allegedly stopped foreclosure, and a legal fight that is becoming more intense by the day. While social media has been buzzing with claims that PK has filed an $8 million lawsuit against Dorit, the available court reports indicate the dispute is part of their ongoing divorce and property battle, with PK seeking legal control over the home and reimbursement related to the mortgage rescue rather than a standalone civil lawsuit. According to recent court filings, PK claims the luxury property was in serious danger of foreclosure after mortgage payments allegedly went unpaid. The businessman says he stepped in at the last possible moment, personally advancing approximately $300,000 to stop the foreclosure process from moving forward. He argues that his financial intervention saved the home from immediate disaster and protected one of the couple's most valuable assets. PK further claims that Dorit had agreed he would be reimbursed from the proceeds if the property was eventually sold. However, PK now alleges that agreement has not been honored. In his filing, he is asking the court to grant him sole authority over the property, arguing that he is the only one actively trying to prevent additional financial damage. He reportedly wants the legal power to list and sell the mansion before the situation worsens. The court has not yet ruled on that request. The accusations don't stop with the mortgage dispute. PK also claims Dorit has failed to cooperate during the ongoing divorce proceedings, describing what he alleges is a pattern of delays and broken promises that have complicated efforts to resolve the financial issues surrounding the home. He argues that every delay increases the financial risk for both parties and makes it harder to protect the property's value. Adding even more drama to the situation are PK's allegations regarding Dorit's recent travel. Court documents reportedly accuse the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star of taking an extended European vacation while the family home continued facing serious financial challenges. PK claims the timing of the vacation demonstrates misplaced priorities during a period when major financial decisions needed immediate attention. These are allegations made in court filings and have not been proven in court. PK also raised concerns about parenting arrangements during Dorit's trip. According to the filings, he alleges communication regarding their children became difficult while Dorit was overseas. He claims he was not provided with sufficient information regarding travel schedules and future plans involving the children. Those allegations are part of the ongoing legal dispute, and Dorit has not publicly addressed every individual claim contained in the filings. Financial issues have surrounded the former couple for years, making these latest court filings especially significant for longtime RHOBH fans. The Encino mansion has frequently attracted headlines because of previous reports involving missed mortgage payments and concerns about foreclosure. Although the reported $300,000 payment appears to have temporarily prevented foreclosure proceedings, the legal fight over responsibility for the property continues. The legal filings also include criticism of Dorit's spending. Earlier court documents cited by entertainment outlets alleged she spent substantial amounts on luxury fashion during the period surrounding the couple's financial difficulties. Dorit strongly rejected that criticism, publicly stating that the purchases were made using her own earnings and insisting she has every right to spend the money she personally earns. Her response quickly became a major talking point among Bravo fans, with supporters on both sides debating whether personal spending should become part of the divorce battle. Meanwhile, the emotional aspect of the divorce continues to play out alongside the financial conflict. PK and Dorit announced their separation after nearly a decade of marriage, and Dorit later filed for divorce. Since then, nearly every new court filing has generated another wave of headlines, with disagreements ranging from parenting issues to finances and ownership of shared assets. What makes this dispute particularly important is the value of the property itself. Real estate worth around $8 million represents one of the couple's largest shared investments. Whoever ultimately gains authority over the home could significantly influence how remaining debts are handled and how any future sale proceeds are divided. That explains why PK's request for exclusive control has become such a major issue in the divorce proceedings. At this stage, no judge has ruled in PK's favor regarding his request for sole authority over the mansion, and the broader divorce case remains ongoing. The allegations contained in the court filings represent PK's position, while Dorit has disputed aspects of his claims in public statements. Until the court reaches a decision, many of the most dramatic accusations remain contested rather than established facts. For RHOBH viewers, the situation has evolved far beyond reality television storylines. What began as a highly publicized separation has become a complicated legal battle involving real estate, alleged financial obligations, parenting disagreements, and competing narratives about who is responsible for the couple's current circumstances. Every new filing seems to introduce another shocking claim, ensuring that this divorce remains one of the most closely watched celebrity legal battles connected to the Bravo franchise. Whether PK ultimately secures control of the mansion or the court rejects his request remains to be seen. What is certain is that the fight over the home and the disputed $300,000 foreclosure rescue has added another dramatic chapter to an already contentious divorce. As the legal proceedings continue, fans will be watching closely for the court's next decision, because the outcome could determine not only the future of the luxury property, but also the financial consequences for both PK and Dorit as they move toward the final resolution of their split. The courtroom dispute has also sparked intense debate over who should be responsible for preserving the value of the couple's most expensive shared asset while the divorce remains unresolved. Legal experts following similar celebrity divorce cases have pointed out that when high-value real estate is involved, judges often focus on preventing further financial losses before deciding who ultimately receives ownership or how profits will be divided. That means every mortgage payment, maintenance expense, and legal filing can play an important role in shaping the court's final decision. PK insists that the financial situation surrounding the mansion became so urgent that immediate action was unavoidable. His legal team argues that waiting any longer could have resulted in even greater losses if foreclosure proceedings had continued. According to the filings, PK believes he acted in the best interests of both parties by providing the funds necessary to keep the property out of foreclosure, even though the couple was already living separate lives. Dorit, however, is expected to challenge many of those claims as the divorce case moves forward. Although she has not publicly responded to every allegation contained in the newest court documents, previous statements from her representatives have suggested that she disputes the narrative being presented by PK. Her side is likely to argue that the financial issues surrounding the property are far more complicated than they appear in a single court filing. The disagreement has fueled widespread speculation among Bravo fans, with many wondering whether the mansion will eventually be sold before the divorce is finalized. Selling the property could potentially eliminate one of the largest points of conflict between the former couple, but that outcome depends entirely on future court decisions and any negotiations that may take place behind closed doors. Adding another layer of intrigue is the possibility that additional financial records could become part of the case. Divorce proceedings involving significant assets often require detailed examinations of bank statements, mortgage records, business interests, and personal expenditures. If that happens here, even more information about the couple's finances could become public, leading to additional headlines in the weeks ahead. The legal battle is also raising questions about how both PK and Dorit will move forward professionally. Dorit remains closely associated with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, where viewers have watched many chapters of her personal life unfold over the years. Any major development in the divorce is almost certain to attract attention from fans eager to see whether the situation becomes part of future storylines. For PK, the focus appears to be on resolving what he describes as an increasingly difficult financial situation. His latest filing emphasizes the importance of protecting the property's value before additional costs accumulate. Whether the court agrees with his assessment remains uncertain, but the request itself demonstrates just how serious the dispute has become. Meanwhile, social media continues to amplify every new update. Within hours of reports about the latest court filings, fans began debating whether PK's actions represented a necessary financial rescue or an aggressive legal strategy designed to strengthen his position in the divorce. Others questioned whether the couple might still reach a private settlement before the case proceeds much further. Celebrity divorce attorneys often note that public court filings reveal only one side of a much larger legal picture. Documents submitted by one party are typically followed by responses, objections, and additional evidence from the other side. As a result, the complete story usually develops over several months rather than through a single explosive filing. Another factor that could influence the outcome is the current real estate market. If the property's market value changes significantly before any sale takes place, both parties could face different financial consequences than originally expected. A higher selling price might reduce some financial pressure, while a declining market could create new challenges for everyone involved. Supporters of Dorit argue that public opinion should not be shaped solely by legal allegations that have yet to be tested in court. They emphasize that accusations contained in divorce filings represent claims rather than proven facts. On the other hand, PK's supporters believe his reported financial contribution to prevent foreclosure demonstrates a willingness to protect the family's investment during a difficult period. As the legal process continues, both sides will likely present additional evidence supporting their positions. That evidence could include financial records, communications between the former spouses, testimony from professionals involved with the property, and other documentation that helps the court determine exactly what happened. For now, one thing is clear. The dispute has become about far more than just one luxury home. It reflects the broader challenges that often arise when high-profile couples separate while sharing valuable assets, ongoing financial obligations, and family responsibilities. Every court hearing has the potential to reshape the case, making each new development closely watched by fans and entertainment media alike. Until a judge issues new rulings, the future of the mansion remains uncertain. Whether the property is sold, refinanced, or retained as part of the final divorce settlement, the decision could have lasting financial consequences for both PK and Dorit. With emotions running high and millions of dollars at stake, this legal battle appears far from over, and the next chapter may prove to be even more dramatic than the last. As the divorce case continues to unfold, attention is shifting beyond the immediate dispute over the mansion and toward the broader financial picture facing both PK and Dorit. High-profile separations involving luxury homes rarely end with a single court filing. Instead, they often trigger a series of legal motions covering asset division, debt allocation, reimbursement claims, and long-term financial responsibilities. That appears to be exactly where this case is headed. One of the biggest questions still unanswered is whether the court will determine that the reported $300,000 payment should be treated as a personal contribution from PK or as a marital expense that ultimately benefits both parties. That distinction could have a major impact on how the property's equity is divided if the home is eventually sold. Family law experts often note that even seemingly straightforward payments can become complicated once a divorce enters the legal system. Another issue likely to receive close attention is the property's ongoing carrying costs. Luxury estates require substantial monthly expenses, including mortgage payments, insurance, taxes, security, landscaping, and regular maintenance. If those costs continue to accumulate while the divorce remains unresolved, the court may eventually examine which party has been paying what share and whether either spouse should receive financial credit for covering those obligations. Behind the scenes, both legal teams are expected to gather additional documentation supporting their positions. Financial statements, loan records, communications between the parties, and property-related agreements could all become important pieces of evidence. In many celebrity divorce cases, these records often tell a more complete story than the public headlines, revealing details that were never discussed outside the courtroom. Public reaction has been equally intense. Bravo viewers have followed PK and Dorit's relationship for years, watching their successes and struggles play out on television. Because of that history, every legal update quickly spreads across fan pages and entertainment blogs, where supporters of both sides continue debating who bears greater responsibility for the current financial conflict. Some fans believe PK's reported efforts to stop foreclosure demonstrate a commitment to preserving the family's investment despite the ongoing separation. Others argue that divorce disputes frequently involve competing versions of events, making it important to wait until both sides have fully presented their evidence before reaching conclusions. Those differing opinions have fueled nonstop discussion online, keeping the story in the spotlight. The emotional side of the divorce should not be overlooked either. Beyond legal filings and financial records, both PK and Dorit are navigating a major life transition while remaining public figures. Every court development becomes a headline, and every public appearance is analyzed by fans searching for clues about the status of their relationship and legal battle. That level of scrutiny adds another layer of pressure to an already difficult situation. There is also growing speculation about whether the former couple could eventually reach a negotiated settlement instead of allowing the dispute to continue through extended litigation. In many celebrity divorces, private agreements are reached after months of courtroom filings, helping both parties avoid additional legal costs and public exposure. Whether that happens here remains unknown, but settlement discussions are always a possibility in cases involving valuable shared assets. If negotiations fail, however, the court may ultimately make the key decisions regarding the mansion and any related reimbursement claims. Judges typically evaluate documentary evidence, testimony, and applicable family law before determining how assets should be managed or distributed. The outcome could influence not only the future of the home but also each party's broader financial position after the divorce is finalized. Meanwhile, interest in the story shows no signs of slowing down. Entertainment reporters continue monitoring court records for new filings, while viewers wait to see whether additional details emerge about the couple's finances, property arrangements, or future legal strategy. Every new document has the potential to change the direction of the case and generate another wave of headlines. For now, the facts remain limited to what has been reported in court filings and public statements. Those filings reflect the claims of the parties involved, and many issues remain contested. Until the legal process reaches its conclusion, several of the most dramatic allegations have not been established as findings of fact. What is undeniable, however, is that this divorce has evolved into one of the most closely watched legal disputes connected to the Real Housewives franchise. Millions of dollars, a luxury property, and years of shared financial history have combined to create a case that continues attracting widespread public attention. With additional hearings expected in the future, both supporters and critics will be watching closely to see how the court resolves the remaining disputes. The next phase of the proceedings could prove decisive. Whether the mansion is sold, retained, or placed under the temporary control of one party, that decision may shape the final financial settlement between PK and Dorit. Until then, the legal battle remains ongoing, and every court update is likely to bring fresh questions, new arguments, and even more speculation about how one of reality television's most talked about separations will ultimately come to an end. Even as the legal proceedings continue, industry insiders believe the financial dispute could have consequences that extend well beyond the divorce itself. In cases involving luxury real estate, unresolved disagreements can affect refinancing options, future investments, and even the ability of either party to move forward with major financial decisions. That is why every motion filed with the court is being watched so closely. One issue that has quietly emerged is timing. The longer a high-value property remains tied up in litigation, the greater the possibility that market conditions could change. If property values rise, both sides could benefit from waiting. But if the market weakens or additional costs continue to accumulate, the financial picture could become much more challenging. That uncertainty places added pressure on both parties to find a practical solution. Legal observers also note that divorce cases involving significant assets often become more complicated as additional financial information is exchanged. Discovery, the stage where each side requests documents and records, can reveal details about expenses, income, loans, and business dealings that were previously unknown. If new information comes to light, it could influence future arguments or even change the direction of settlement negotiations. For longtime viewers of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the current conflict marks a dramatic contrast from the image the couple projected during earlier seasons. Their lavish lifestyle, designer fashion, luxury vacations, and impressive home became defining parts of their television identity. Now, the conversation has shifted away from glamour and toward legal filings, mortgage issues, and courtroom strategy. Another unanswered question is whether both sides will eventually decide that continuing the legal fight is more expensive than reaching a compromise. Divorce litigation involving valuable assets can generate substantial attorney fees, financial expert costs, and court expenses. In many high-profile cases, those mounting costs become one of the strongest motivations for negotiating a resolution instead of pursuing a lengthy courtroom battle. Public opinion remains sharply divided. Some viewers sympathize with PK's position, believing that stepping in to help protect the property demonstrated financial responsibility. Others feel Dorit deserves the opportunity to fully present her side before judgments are made based on allegations alone. Since the court has not issued final findings on many of the disputed claims, supporters of both parties continue defending their perspectives across social media. The case has also become a reminder of how quickly personal challenges can become public for reality television personalities. Every legal document, every reported hearing, and every statement from either side is analyzed by fans, entertainment journalists, and online commentators. Unlike private divorces, celebrity separations often unfold under constant public scrutiny, leaving very little room for either side to resolve disagreements away from the spotlight. Meanwhile, speculation continues about what this could mean for future appearances on reality television. Fans are already wondering whether upcoming episodes or reunion specials will address the ongoing legal dispute. If the divorce remains unresolved during future filming, producers may have difficult decisions about how much of the legal conflict can be discussed on camera while respecting the court process. Despite the non-stop headlines, several important questions remain unanswered. Will the court approve any request involving control of the mansion? Will the reported foreclosure-related payment become part of the final financial settlement? Could mediation help both sides avoid an extended legal battle? At this stage, those answers are still unknown, and the outcome will depend on future court proceedings and any negotiations that take place between the parties. One thing is becoming increasingly clear: this is no longer just another celebrity breakup story. It has developed into a complex legal and financial dispute involving significant assets, competing claims, and ongoing public interest. Every development has the potential to affect not only the divorce itself, but also the financial futures of both PK and Dorit. Until the court reaches a final decision, much of the discussion will continue to be driven by filings, responses, and legal arguments from both sides. Those documents provide only part of the overall picture, and the complete facts will ultimately be determined through the legal process. As additional hearings take place, new information may emerge that reshapes public understanding of the dispute. For now, the future remains uncertain. The luxury mansion, the financial claims surrounding it, and the unresolved issues between the former couple continue to dominate headlines, ensuring that this case remains one of the most closely followed stories connected to the Real Housewives franchise. Whether the conflict ends through a negotiated settlement or a courtroom ruling, the final chapter has yet to be written, and until that day arrives, fans will continue watching every legal twist and every new development with intense curiosity. As anticipation builds around the next stage of the case, many legal analysts believe the final outcome could hinge on documentation rather than dramatic courtroom arguments. Mortgage statements, payment histories, ownership records, and correspondence between the former spouses may ultimately carry more weight than public speculation. In high-value divorce proceedings, judges typically rely on verifiable financial evidence instead of media narratives, making every submitted document a potentially critical piece of the puzzle. Another aspect drawing attention is how the case could influence future financial planning for both PK and Dorit. Once a marriage involving shared assets comes to an end, each person must establish an independent financial path. That process often includes dividing property, resolving outstanding debts, restructuring investments, and creating separate long-term financial strategies. The ongoing dispute over the mansion may delay some of those decisions until the court determines how the asset should be handled. Observers have also pointed out that celebrity divorces often evolve in unexpected ways. Cases that initially appear centered on one property or one financial disagreement sometimes expand to include additional issues as both sides continue presenting evidence. New motions, revised legal arguments, or updated financial disclosures can significantly change the direction of a case, even after months of litigation. Meanwhile, fans continue searching for signs of whether relations between PK and Dorit have improved behind the scenes. Despite the ongoing legal conflict, some followers hope the former couple can eventually reduce tensions for the benefit of their family. Others believe the current legal filings suggest that a negotiated resolution may still be some distance away. Without direct statements from both parties confirming their intentions, much of that discussion remains speculation. The media attention surrounding the case has also highlighted the growing public fascination with celebrity finances. Luxury homes, high-value assets, and expensive lifestyles naturally attract interest, especially when financial challenges become part of the story. However, legal professionals frequently remind the public that headlines rarely capture the full complexity of divorce proceedings, where confidential negotiations often occur outside public view. Should the property eventually be placed on the market, another series of questions would emerge. Potential buyers could become interested in one of the most talked-about homes associated with the Real Housewives franchise, while real estate experts would closely monitor its listing price and eventual sale value. A successful sale could help resolve some financial disputes, but it would not automatically settle every remaining issue between the former spouses. There is also the possibility that mediation could play a greater role before the case reaches its conclusion. Courts often encourage divorcing couples to resolve disagreements through negotiated agreements whenever possible, particularly when children and substantial shared assets are involved. Mediation allows both sides to discuss solutions privately, potentially avoiding additional courtroom hearings and reducing legal expenses. Whether PK and Dorit choose that route remains uncertain. Another factor worth considering is the emotional impact of prolonged litigation. Divorce is already a significant life transition, and extended legal battles can increase stress for everyone involved. Constant media coverage, public commentary, and ongoing court proceedings create additional pressure that most private families never experience. For public figures, maintaining personal privacy becomes especially difficult once legal documents begin generating national headlines. As new reports continue to surface, it is important to distinguish between verified court actions and online rumors. Social media frequently amplifies dramatic claims long before they are confirmed, leading to confusion about what has actually happened in the case. The most reliable information continues to come from official court filings and accurately reported legal developments rather than viral speculation circulating across entertainment platforms. Looking ahead, the next court decisions may provide greater clarity about the future of the disputed property and the financial responsibilities connected to it. Those rulings could influence settlement discussions, determine how certain expenses are allocated, or establish temporary arrangements while the divorce moves toward completion. Even then, additional hearings may still be necessary before every issue is fully resolved. Regardless of how the litigation ends, the dispute has already become one of the most widely discussed legal stories involving the Real Housewives universe. It serves as a reminder that behind the luxury lifestyle portrayed on television, complex financial realities and legal challenges can emerge just as they do in any other family. Fame may increase public attention, but it does not simplify the legal process. For viewers, the story remains far from finished. Every new filing, court appearance, or public statement has the potential to reshape the narrative and introduce another unexpected development. Until a final agreement is reached or the court issues its ultimate ruling, questions surrounding the mansion, the financial claims, and the future relationship between PK and Dorit will continue fueling discussion among fans eager to learn what happens next.